My flight got in early. I was just hoping for leftovers in the fridge, maybe a silent house to rest in. Instead, I opened my front door and found 87 people drinking wine in my living room, under a giant banner that said, "Family means forever." No one had told me, because my brother planned it, and he knew this whole thing only works if I'm not there. They called it a family reunion. I called it a funeral, because that was the day I stopped pretending we were still a family. Tell me what city you're watching from, and tell me truthfully, have you ever buried your family while they were still alive? Now, let me tell you what happened the day everything fell apart. I stood in my own doorway for what felt like an hour but was probably 30 seconds. My suitcase handle still gripped in my right hand, medical conference badge still clipped to my jacket. The smell hit me first. My mother's recipe for pot roast, the one she taught me before the cancer took her voice, being served from my kitchen to people I hadn't seen in years. Some of them I'd never met at all. My cousin Linda was laughing by the fireplace, holding court with a wine glass filled from the bottle I'd been saving for my 56th birthday next month. My Uncle Ray, who hadn't called since Mom's funeral 3 months ago, was sitting in her chair, the one I still couldn't bring myself to move from its spot by the window. And there was my brother Marcus, standing in the center of it all like a conductor directing his symphony. 43 years old, silver already threading through his temples in that distinguished way that made people trust him instantly. He was telling some story that had the whole room hanging on his words, his hands moving through the air the way dads used to when he'd had too much bourbon. The banner stretched across my dining room wall, held up with what looked like industrial tape that would definitely peel the paint. Family means forever, in gold letters against black fabric, professional, expensive, planned. I watched my Aunt Helen stack paper plates on my grandmother's china cabinet, the one I'd spent 3 days restoring after Mom passed. Watched teenagers I didn't recognize sprawled across the sofa. I'd reupholstered myself during those long nights when Mom couldn't sleep and needed me there, just needed me there. Not one person noticed me standing in my own doorway. Not one. I could have been a ghost, and it would have made no difference. Maybe I already was one. Maybe I'd been haunting this family for years, and they'd all just gotten very good at looking through me instead of at me. The workshop in Albany had ended a day early. Budget cuts, they said. I'd paid $600 out of pocket for that continuing education credit, driven 4 hours each way because flying seemed excessive. I was proud of myself for going, for doing something that was just mine, after 3 years of my life revolving around Mom's medication schedules and doctor appointments, and those 3 a.m. calls when she'd forget where she was. I'd texted Marcus that I was heading home early. The message showed as read. That was 5 hours ago. Standing there, I remembered being 8 years old, hiding under the dining room table during a different family party. Mom had found me there, crying because Marcus had told everyone I was adopted as a joke, and they'd all laughed. She'd crawled under with me, her good dress getting dusty, and held me until I stopped shaking. Sometimes she'd whispered, "Family is the loneliest place to be." I didn't understand her then. I understood her now. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. "Traffic bad? Don't wait up. Family reunion going late. Ordered pizza for tomorrow." He thought I was still in Albany. He thought I wouldn't be home for another 18 hours. That's when I saw the schedule taped to my refrigerator. 3 days. They'd planned a 3-day family reunion in my house. Pool party tomorrow. Never mind that I'd just had the liner repaired. BBQ on Sunday with what looked like 120 confirmed guests. My name wasn't anywhere on that schedule. Not as a host. Not as a guest. Not even as a footnote. But there, at the bottom in my brother's handwriting, "Checkout, Sunday 6 p.m. Emily returns Sunday night." Checkout. Like my home was a hotel. Like I was housekeeping, expected to clean up after them. I stepped back outside, closing the door silently. Sat in my car in my own driveway, watching shadows move past windows. I'd weatherproofed myself last winter. My hands weren't shaking. That surprised me. I felt hollow, like someone had scooped out everything inside me and left just the shell. You need to understand something about Marcus and me, about this family, about why 87 people could plan a reunion in my house without anyone saying, "Shouldn't we tell Emily?" Marcus was born when my parents were 23, young and beautiful and ready to conquer the world. Every milestone got photographed, celebrated, bronzed. His first word, first step, first day of school in that little suit Mom pressed perfect. I came along 7 years later. An accident, I heard Dad tell someone once when he thought I wasn't listening. Not unwanted. Exactly. Just unplanned. By then, Mom was tired. Dad was working 60-hour weeks, and Marcus was already the son everyone orbited around. He was brilliant. Actually brilliant. Graduated high school at 16, full scholarship to Princeton, the kind of son parents brag about at grocery stores. I was steady, solid, got my nursing degree from the state school 40 minutes away because I couldn't imagine leaving Mom alone in that big house with her getting forgetful. Dad already gone from the heart attack nobody saw coming. When the economy crashed in 2008, Marcus lost everything. The trading firm, the penthouse, the fiancé who loved his portfolio more than him. He showed up at Mom's door with 2 suitcases, and that smile that made everyone forgive him before he even asked. I was already living there, had moved back in when Mom's forgetfulness got diagnosed with a proper name, dementia, early stage but aggressive. Just for a few months, Marcus promised, taking over the master bedroom because Mom had already moved to the ground floor room I'd set up for her, until I get back on my feet. That was 15 years ago. He got back on his feet. All right. Started 3 companies that failed, each funded by Mom's savings, then her retirement, then the reverse mortgage on the house. But he always had another plan, another sure thing, another reason why this time would be different. I was the one who worked double shifts to keep the lights on. The one who learned how to change Mom's diapers when she forgot what bathrooms were for. The one who sang her to sleep with the same lullabies she'd once sung to us, back when her voice was strong and her hands didn't shake. Marcus showed up for the good days, the lucid days, the days when Mom would laugh at his jokes and call him her golden boy. He'd take selfies with her, post them online with captions about family being everything. Those posts got hundreds of likes. People would comment what a devoted son he was. Nobody saw me in the background of those photos, usually holding Mom's medications or a glass of water or just standing there, making sure she didn't fall when the camera stopped rolling. When Mom died 3 months ago, Marcus gave the eulogy. It was beautiful. People cried. He talked about sacrifice and love, and how Mom taught us that family means forever. He didn't mention that I was the only one holding her hand when she died at 3:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. He wasn't there. Had a meeting in Chicago he couldn't reschedule. The will reading was supposed to be a formality. Marcus had already made plans for the house, developers were interested, could turn it into condos. He'd split the profits with me, he said, 60-40 since he needed it more. But Mom had changed her will that last year, during one of her clear periods. The lawyer she'd called, paid with cash she'd hidden from Marcus's various emergency needs. She'd been specific, methodical. The woman who couldn't remember my name some days had somehow remembered every detail that mattered. The house went to me. All of it. Every brick, every board, every memory soaked into the walls. Marcus contested it, of course, said Mom, wasn't sound of mind. But she'd been smart, had the lawyer bring a psychiatrist to verify her competency that day. Had it all recorded, she knew her son, both of them. The legal battle ate through most of Marcus's remaining resources. He lost. Badly. The judge called his case wholly without merit and ordered him to pay my legal fees. He didn't. Of course he didn't. Instead, he did what he always did, acted like it never happened, kept his key, kept coming by, kept treating my house like his personal storage unit and backup plan. And I let him, because that's what I did, what I'd always done. Until tonight. I sat in that car for 2 hours watching my life through windows like it was a TV show about someone else. At one point, Linda came out for a smoke, stood 3 feet from my car, and never noticed me. We'd shared a bedroom every summer at Grandma's house until we were 16. She'd been my maid of honor at the wedding that lasted 4 years before David decided a wife with a sick mother was too much baggage. She went back inside, and I saw her through the kitchen window refilling her wine glass. My wine, from my cabinet, in my house. The text came at 11:43 p.m. Marcus! Crazy night. Family surprised me with a reunion. Would have invited you but knew you had that work thing. You wouldn't mind, right? Family first. Family first. Those 2 words lit something in me. Not rage. Rage burns hot and fast and leaves nothing but ash. This was different. Colder. Clearer. I drove to the Holiday Inn off Route 9. Paid cash for 3 nights. The desk clerk didn't recognize me. even though I'd gone to high school with her daughter. Story of my life. In that beige room that smelled like industrial cleaner and other people's disappointments, I opened my laptop and started making lists. Not emotional lists, practical ones. Every bill in my name, every password, every service, every single thing that made that house run like clockwork even when I wasn't there. The security system Marcus never learned to set. The Wi-Fi he'd never bothered to ask the password for, I just set it up on his devices. The automatic payments for utilities he assumed were still in Mom's name. The grocery delivery service that kept the fridge stocked. The landscaping service. The pool maintenance. All of it. Every invisible thread that held that life together. At 2 a.m., I got a Facebook notification. I'd been tagged in a photo, Marcus's page. The picture. My dining room packed with family, all raising glasses in a toast. The caption, blessed to host the whole family in Mom's house. Keeping her memory alive, she always said this house was meant for gatherings. Family means forever. Mom's house. Not my house. Mom's house. Like I was just the caretaker, the help, the ghost that kept everything running but didn't deserve a place at the table. 437 likes, 89 comments about what a wonderful son he was, how lucky the family was to have him maintaining the family home. My cousin Jeffrey had commented, "Thanks for organizing this, Marcus. Emily's lucky to have a brother who keeps the family traditions alive while she's always working." While I'm always working, at 2:17 a.m., Marcus posted a video tour. He walked through my house, Mom's house as he called it, showing off improvements he'd made. The painted dining room I'd spent 3 weeks on became his weekend project. The garden I'd nursed back from nothing was his meditation space. The library where I'd cataloged every one of Mom's books while she forgot how to read, that was where he came to feel her presence. "Emily's not here this weekend," he said to the camera, standing in my kitchen. "But she wouldn't want us to cancel just because of her schedule. She knows family comes first." I watched him open my cabinets, offer my food, pour my wine, all while explaining how hard it was to maintain the family home since Mom passed, how expensive, how emotionally draining. The camera caught someone's hand passing him cash for house expenses, they said. They were paying him. These people were paying my brother to host them in my house. The next morning, instead of driving home, I drove to see Mom's lawyer, Robert Castellano. He was in his 70s, had handled our family's legal matters since before I was born. His office still had wood paneling and smelled like pipe tobacco, even though he'd quit smoking in the 90s. "Emily," he said, when his secretary showed me in, "I heard about your mother's house being full of relatives. Small town, people talk." "It's my house," I said quietly. "Yes," he agreed. "It is legally, unequivocally, completely yours. What do you need?" What I needed was to disappear, but what I said was, "I need to know my options." He leaned back, fingers steepled. "Your brother is trespassing. You could have him removed. Today, if you wanted." "What else?" "Well," he pulled out a legal pad. "There's the matter of the money." "What money?" That's when I learned about the insurance policy. Mom had taken out a life insurance policy 30 years ago. Small, but it had grown. Beneficiary, me. Only me. Marcus had tried to claim it, saying there must have been a mistake. The insurance company had refused. The payout had been sitting in an escrow account for 2 months. $287,000. "She also left a letter," Robert said, sliding an envelope across the desk. "She asked me to give it to you when you were ready. I think perhaps you're ready now." My name was written across the front in her shaky handwriting. Inside, her words, probably some of the last coherent ones she wrote. "My dear Emily, you were there? Every day you were there. I see you, even when the fog makes it hard to see anything else. The house is yours because you're the only one who ever truly lived in it. Marcus just occupied space. You filled it with love. Don't let him take this from you. Don't let any of them make you small. I'm sorry I didn't protect you better. I'm sorry I let you disappear while making sure everyone else was seen. Be brave, my quiet girl. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is simply stop being convenient. All my love, Mom. P.S. The combination to the safe in the basement is your birthday." Marcus never remembered it. "You'll know what to do with what's inside." I spent that second night in the hotel mapping out every detail. Not revenge, exactly. Just reclamation. At 6 a.m. on Saturday, while 87 relatives were sleeping off hangovers in my house, I logged into every utility account and scheduled disconnections. Electric Sunday, 8 p.m., water Monday, 6 a.m., internet and cable, immediate. I canceled the pool service that was supposed to come clean before the big party. Canceled the breakfast catering Marcus had ordered using my saved credit card information. Canceled the bounce house rental for the kids, the tent rental for Shade, the portable restrooms he'd arranged because my 2 bathrooms couldn't handle 120 people. Every confirmation email went to my phone. Marcus wouldn't notice, he never checked those details. Just assumed things would work out. They always had before. Then I went to the bank. The beautiful thing about small towns is that everyone knows your business, but sometimes that works in your favor. Sheila, the branch manager, had gone to school with Mom. Emily, I heard Marcus is throwing quite the party at your house. My house? I repeated, and something in my tone made her look up sharply. Of course, your house. What can I help you with? I withdrew $20,000 in cash from the insurance payout. Then I opened a new safety deposit box and transferred everything from Mom's safe, which I'd retrieved at 4 a.m. while the house was dark, using the basement door. Marcus didn't know how to key. Inside that safe, Mom's jewelry worth more than Marcus ever knew, photos from before he was born, when my parents were different people, and documents. So many documents. Loans Marcus had taken out using the house as collateral without legal right, forged signatures. Credit cards in Mom's name opened after her diagnosis. Fraud. It was all fraud. But I wasn't ready to use that yet. Maybe never. I just needed to know I could. Saturday afternoon, I watched from my car as cousins started arriving for day 2 of the reunion. The pool party was in full swing by 2 p.m. Marcus was in his element, playing host, playing patriarch, playing the role of the devoted son keeping the family together. At 3 p.m., the first caterer called him about the cancellation. I watched him wave it off, phone pressed to his ear, probably charming them into delivering anyway. They didn't. At 4 p.m., the bounce house company came to collect their deposit. Cash only, since the card on file had been declined. At 5 p.m., Linda's husband tried to turn on the game. The cable was out, then the internet. Marcus reset the router 3 times before giving up, telling everyone it was probably just a glitch. But the real revelation came at sunset. I'd been sitting in my car for so long, I'd memorized every crack in my driveway when my phone rang. Not Marcus, our cousin Diana, the genealogist who'd spent 10 years tracing our family tree. Emily, are you at the reunion? I'm working, I lied. Oh, that's strange. Marcus said you were the one who organized all this. He said you wanted to do it to honor your mom, but you were too shy to take credit. I was silent so long, she asked if I was still there. Deanna, I said finally, I didn't even know there was a reunion until yesterday. The pause on her end stretched out like taffy. But the banner, she said slowly. Marcus said you ordered it, said you chose those words specifically. Family means forever. He said it was your mom's favorite saying. Mom hated that phrase. She'd told me once it was what her father had said when he'd forbidden her from going to college. What her mother had said when she stayed with a husband who drank too much. What guilt looked like when it dressed up as love. Deanna, I said, can I ask you something? Who actually got invited to this? She started listing names. The pattern became clear quickly. Everyone with money, everyone with connections, everyone who could do something for Marcus. The relatives who'd fallen on hard times, not invited. The ones who lived too modestly, not invited. The teenage cousin who'd just come out as gay and made some of the family uncomfortable, definitely not invited. And me, the one who owned the house, not invited. Deanna, I need you to do something for me, I said. I need you to ask Marcus in front of everyone where I am. And when he answers, I need you to ask him why I wasn't invited to a reunion in my own house. Your house? But Marcus said. She stopped. Oh, Emily. That's when we learned what city Diana was from. Seattle. Visiting for the first time in 5 years, spending a fortune to fly out because Marcus had convinced her this was a once-in-a-lifetime gathering. I flew from Seattle for this, she said, voice tight. My husband and kids. We spent $3,000 because Marcus said it was what your mom would have wanted. Mom would have wanted her children to talk to each other, I said. But Marcus doesn't talk to me. He talks through me, around me, about me, never to me. Where are you right now? Sitting in my car. in my own driveway, watching my family celebrate in my house without me. She hung up. 2 minutes later, I watched through the window as she stood up in the middle of my living room and started asking questions. The call came at 8:47 p.m. Not Marcus. He'd never lower himself to call first. It was Linda. Emily, where are you? In my driveway. What? You're here? Why didn't you come in? Was I invited, Linda? Silence. Then Marcus said you knew. He said you planned this. Check the banner, I said. Look at the receipt. See whose credit card paid for it. 10 minutes later, the front door opened. Not Marcus, not Linda. Diana, dragging Marcus by the arm like he was a reluctant child. I got out of my car, slowly. 3 days in the same clothes, hair unwashed. I probably looked exactly like what I was, a woman who'd been erased from her own life. Tell her, Diana commanded Marcus. Tell Emily what you just told me. Marcus couldn't meet my eyes. At 43, he looked like a teenager caught stealing. It wasn't supposed to be like this. What wasn't? My voice was steadier than I felt. You were supposed to be gone until tomorrow night. You always stick to your schedule. Always. So you thought you'd throw a party in my house while I was gone? It's not just your house. The words exploded out of him. It's the family house. Mom's house. You can't just keep it all to yourself. Mom left it to me because she wasn't thinking clearly. The court disagreed. He stepped closer, and for the first time in our lives, I saw real ugliness in his face. Not the charming disappointment he usually wore, but something meaner. You poisoned her against me. All those years whispering in her ear while she was sick, making yourself the martyr. Saint Emily, giving up everything to take care of Mom. I did give up everything. You gave up nothing. You never had anything to give up. No real career, no family of your own, nothing but this house and Mom's need for a nurse. You should be grateful I even let you stay here. The crowd had gathered on the porch. Now, 87 people watching the show. Let me? I laughed, but it came out broken. Let me stay in my own house? You know what? Marcus pulled out his phone. I'm done with this. I'm calling my lawyer. We're going to settle this once and for all. Family means forever, Emily, and that means sharing, whether you like it or not. That's when I said the words I'd been practicing in that hotel room mirror. You're right, Marcus. Family means forever, which is why I'm going to give you exactly what family gave me. I pulled out my phone, opened the folder I'd prepared, and started reading. January 15th, 2009. You took $8,000 from Mom's savings to start your first company. I covered her medications that month with my credit card. March 3rd, 2011. You convinced Mom to reverse mortgage the house. I worked double shifts for 3 years to pay it off before she lost everything. June 18th, 2015. You opened 3 credit cards in Mom's name after her diagnosis. I spent my entire 401k paying them off so she wouldn't lose her Medicare. September 2nd, 2018. The weekend Mom fell and broke her hip. You were in Vegas with investors. I slept in a hospital chair for 9 days. December 24th, 2019. Christmas Eve. Mom didn't recognize anyone but kept asking for the nice girl who sings. That was me, Marcus. It was always me. April 1st, 2023. The day Mom died. 3:47 a.m. You were in Chicago. I was holding her hand. The silence stretched like a held breath. But here's the thing about family meaning forever, I continued. It means I won't press charges for the fraud, the forged signatures, the elder abuse. I have it all documented, filed, ready to go. But I won't use it. Marcus went white. Instead, I'm going to give you what you gave me. Nothing. I turned to address the crowd, my family supposedly. The power gets shut off in 3 minutes. The water's been off since this morning, which you'd have noticed if anyone had tried to wash a dish instead of using paper plates. The pool service isn't coming. Neither is the breakfast you ordered on my credit card for tomorrow. But don't worry. I'm not kicking you out. Family means forever, right? So you can stay, all of you. Stay as long as you want in a house with no power, no water, no internet. Stay and celebrate family in the dark. Someone's phone timer went off. They'd been recording. Oh, and Marcus? I added. That money you've been collecting from everyone for house expenses. The house you don't own? That's fraud too. But I'm sure our family will be very understanding when they find out where their money really went. The porch light flickered, then went out. 87 people stood in sudden darkness, lit only by phone screens and the last gasp of sunset. I turned to walk back to my car. Where are you going? Marcus's voice cracked like a teenager's. To a hotel, with power, and water, and the knowledge that I don't owe any of you anything anymore. You can't just leave us here. I stopped, turned around one more time. In the dying light, I could see all their faces, relatives who'd taken my labor for granted, who'd accepted Marcus's version of reality because it was easier than seeing me. Watch me. I drove away at 8:53 p.m. By 9:15, the first text started. Linda, this is cruel, Emily. Uncle Ray, your mother would be ashamed. Marcus, you've destroyed our family. Cousin Jeffrey, way to ruin everything as usual. By 10 p.m., the tone shifted. Deanna, just found out Marcus has been collecting money from everyone, $200 per family for maintenance costs. That's fraud, isn't it? Aunt Helen, the house is really yours? Marcus lied. Someone I didn't even recognize. We flew from Florida because Marcus said you'd specifically requested our presence. We spent $2,000. By midnight, the family WhatsApp group, the one I'd never been added to, had imploded. Diana had posted screenshots of her conversation with Marcus, where he'd admitted to planning the reunion without telling me. Someone else posted the video of our confrontation. Another relative had looked up the property records online, confirming I was the sole owner. The phrase family means forever became a bitter joke. Someone changed the group name to Family Means Fraud. Then Marcus's grift. Then it just dissolved entirely. But the real satisfaction came at 2 a.m. Marcus, from his personal number, Emily, please. I'm sorry, can we talk? Then, at 3 a.m., the house is dark. Everyone left. I don't know where to go. 3:30 a.m. You were right, about everything. I've been terrible to you. 4 a.m. I'm scared. For 43 years, Marcus had never been scared. He'd never had to be. Someone had always caught him when he fell. Usually me. I didn't respond. The next morning, I went to the house. Marcus's car was gone, but the detritus of the reunion remained. Paper plates scattered across the lawn, empty bottles, the banner fallen and trampled in the dirt. Inside was worse. They'd fled like refugees from a disaster, leaving behind the mess of their interrupted party, but nothing was damaged. Nothing stolen. They'd just left. I spent that Sunday cleaning. Not frantically, not angrily, methodically. I played Mom's favorite music, the Broadway shows she'd loved before she forgot the words. I opened every window. I reclaimed each room, each corner, each memory. At 6 p.m., the exact time Marcus had scheduled as checkout on his little schedule, I got another text. Marcus, can I come get my things? Me, tomorrow, 10 a.m. You have 1 hour. He showed up at 9:45, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. The silver in his temples just made him look tired now. Not distinguished. He didn't meet my eyes as he packed his belongings into boxes I'd left on the porch. Emily, he started. No. I just wanted to say, no. He loaded his car in silence. Before he left, he set his house key on the porch railing. The one he'd never asked permission to make. The one that had let him treat my home like his personal safety net. Where will you go? I asked. Not because I cared. Because I needed to know he understood what it felt like. I don't know. And then he was gone. The calls started 3 days later. 105 missed calls over 2 weeks. Not from Marcus, he'd gone silent, but from everyone else. Some were apologizing. They'd had no idea. They were horrified by Marcus's deception. They wanted to make it right. Some were angry. I'd humiliated the family, aired private business, destroyed Marcus when he was already down. Some were bargaining. Surely we could work this out. Family therapy, mediation. Couldn't we all just get together for Thanksgiving and pretend this never happened? I didn't answer any of them. Instead, I changed the locks, installed security cameras, got a new phone number that I gave to exactly 5 people. Deanna, who'd become an unexpected ally, Robert the lawyer, my 2 best friends from nursing school, and my supervisor at the hospital where I'd finally returned to full-time work. The family WhatsApp reformed without me, and honestly, that was the greatest gift. Diana kept me informed of the highlights. Marcus had moved in with Linda, who kicked him out after a week when she caught him going through her jewelry box. He was now couch surfing through the extended family, wearing out welcomes at record speed. Someone leaked the video of our confrontation to social media. It went viral in that modest way things do in small towns, shared through Facebook groups and Twitter threads about family drama. The comments were split between "she's a hero" and "she's heartless." I didn't care about either opinion. 3 months later, Robert called. "Marcus has been arrested," he said simply. "Fraud charges. Not from you, from 3 other family members. He'd borrowed money from using forged documents. Seems your confrontation inspired them to compare notes." "Is he asking for my help?" "No. His public defender says he's taking a plea deal. 2 years minimum security." I felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not guilt. Just a hollow space where my brother used to live in my heart. "There's more," Robert continued. "Your mother left another letter, for Marcus. She asked me to give it to him if something like this ever happened." "What does it say?" "That's between him and her memory. But Emily? She knew. She knew exactly who both her children were, and she made her choice. It's been a year now. The house is different, lighter, somehow. I repainted every room in colors. Mom never would have chosen, but I love deep blues and warm golds and a splash of purple in the bathroom just because I can. I turned Marcus's old room into an art studio where I'm learning to paint. Badly, but joyfully. I host dinners now, small ones, with people I actually chose, friends from work. Diana when she visits, the neighbor who used to check on Mom when I had night shifts. We eat off Mom's good china, and nobody comments on the missing pieces Marcus sold without telling me. The family? They exist somewhere outside my walls. Some have reached out, tentatively, respectfully. Aunt Helen sends Christmas cards with actual letters inside, telling me about her life without expecting anything back. A teenage cousin I barely knew messaged me to say my story gave her courage to stand up to her own toxic family dynamics. But most of them just faded, like photographs left in sunlight. They exist, but they're no longer sharp enough to cut me. Marcus gets out in 6 months. Early release, good behavior. Linda told Diana he's found religion, or pretends he has. He's written me 17 letters. I've read none of them. They sit in a box in the basement, next to the banner from that night. I keep them not as mementos, but as evidence, proof that this really happened, that I didn't imagine being erased from my own life. People ask me if I forgive him, if I forgive them. The truth is, forgiveness isn't mine to give. They need to forgive themselves for what they were willing to not see, for the convenience of my invisibility, for the comfort of Marcus's lies over my inconvenient truths. But there's something I learned that night, standing in my dark house while 87 people fled from the consequences of their assumptions. Family doesn't mean forever. Family means choice. And I choose the family that sees me, not the one that looked through me for 55 years until I finally turned off their lights. Sometimes, late at night, I walk through my house, and I swear I can feel Mom smiling. Not the confused smile of her last years, but the sharp, knowing smile from before, when she was still herself enough to see what was happening but too tired to fight it. "Be brave, my quiet girl," she'd written. I was. I am. And in the silence of my own home, surrounded by the ghosts of who we used to be, I finally understand what she meant that day under the dining room table when I was 8 years old. Sometimes family is the loneliest place to be, but sometimes leaving family is how you finally come home. The banner? I burned it last week, made a whole ceremony of it. Diana was visiting, and we drank wine in the backyard while watching those gold letters, "Family means forever," curl into ash and smoke. "What does family mean to you now?" she asked. I thought about it for a long moment, watching embers rise into the night sky like freed prayers. "Family means choosing who gets to stay," I said finally, "and meaning it." She raised her glass. "To meaning it." We sat there until the fire died to nothing. 2 women who'd found each other in the ruins of what family was supposed to be. 2 women who'd learned that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop being the foundation everyone else builds on. Marcus was wrong about one thing, though. I didn't destroy our family. I just stopped being its ghost. And for the first time in 55 years, I'm visible. Even if the only person who needs to see me is myself. Tingsang das? That's enough. That's everything. If you made it this far, you're probably wondering what happened to those 17 letters Marcus wrote from prison. Last week, I finally opened one. Just one, the most recent. It said, "I see you now." 4 words. 4 words that would have changed everything if he'd said them 40 years ago, or 20, or even 5. But now? Now they're just words from a stranger who happens to share my DNA. I threw it in the fire with the banner. Some things are better as ash, and some ghosts are better left buried, even if they're still breathing.